All right, we are live. What's going on, everybody? I hope you had a great trading day today. Wow, what a day! So, just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers to the Positive Trends newsletter, especially to everybody who's been there since the beginning. So we have a free educational alert service, and had a great day doing that. It was 3 out of 3 profitable trades, and some really good stuff that we caught there. Let me get this tweeted out real quick there. YouTube.com, see Bubblehead Live. Okay, and yeah, so it was a pretty awesome day today. Even despite the choppiness, we still were able to navigate through that. So some pretty cool stuff. This is, let me see, we have these are the pivot levels for today. So just kind of looking at the give me 1 second and zoom in to today. Hold on, something. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Let me auto zoom back in here. There we go. Oh, okay, I see what was happening. Sorry, I had taken off the extended hours. When I showed the extended hours, it really for SPX, it's not a lot, but it does actually trade a little bit. After hours, not all night, of course, like some other, like futures and some of the other ones. But it is interesting, looking at these Fibonacci spirals. We've talked about this a couple times. We draw from high to low from the from a prior high and low. Let me see. So we have this here. From a couple days ago, and we just kind of look at where the spirals went through. Kind of almost picked a top right here yesterday, and even here today came back and almost kind of picked a top too. So definitely something to keep an eye on with your trading. And we'll talk about Fibonacci time ratios in a little bit today. Let me just make sure everything is connecting here. Okay, good. Yeah, good to see everybody. So this is where we're at, kind of in the market. Just a real quick review. The weekly's been pretty interesting, right? We have a big gap up here on the week, a real kicker bar, right? So that's where you just gap and go, and it's very bullish, right? And if you're a subscriber to the newsletter, you'll can kind of see, on paper, why we've been kind of bullish going into this week, and so it's really followed through really well for us. So that's great. So that's looking good here. Real interesting, yesterday, 2 days ago, kind of doji day, spinning top yesterday, and today more consolidation, right? We tagged the upper Bollinger Band here and kind of came back in for an inside day today. So that'll be really interesting. I got a couple alerts on those, just in case we break one way or the other. Let's see how futures are looking. Futures are green right now, a little bit, kind of choppy. So it kind of is what it is at this point. So tomorrow should be pretty interesting. So it's very weak that that doesn't here, and that didn't get filled until the that December correction there. So occasionally you'll catch them, but we'll see if this has the follow through. If it does, I think all-time highs are pretty reasonable to attempt at this point. So if not, there's a nice open gap below, and we'll look for shorts and all that. So going forward, so that's kind of where we are. Just kind of bigger picture here. Obviously big uptrend since, all the way through 2017. Then 2018 started to get interesting, right? One push, that's where we got the all-time highs, a couple all-time highs, but, pushed again, double top, correction, really pushed down here, multiple pitchforks, kind of worked its way up this linear regression channel and is kind of outside the pitchfork, worked its way back up through this congestion zone of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different resistance points, and is finally working its way up here. So we have some fan lines up ahead, linear regression, so 29.14 doesn't look impossible over the next couple of days, of course. Then that gap fill below could be pretty interesting as well. Okay, so that's kind of overview of the market. Right now, obviously still bullish, but wouldn't be surprised if we saw that pullback to fill the gap. We'd hit this fib fan line, and then I'd be bullish again for a bounce off of there. So that's looking pretty good. Okay, so for today's technical topic, we already kind of talked briefly about different Fibonacci. We've gone through the Fibonacci extensions and retracements, a couple different times with a couple different topics. Very popular to use with Elliott wave to find out where the wave's going to end, or basically where a pivot's going to change. So that's really exciting. So W.D. Gann is one of the, arguably one of the greatest traders of all time. Believed that time was more important than price. So when we start incorporating, time elements. So for instance, when we use the action reaction lines here, those are these orange lines, right? So you have this major pivot to major pivot. You kind of pull your channel back and then just duplicate it over to find a reaction line. And this one actually worked pretty well here at this major resistance. We saw that and kind of worked our way down the reaction line. And now we don't have another one. I mean, we could draw a couple others if we wanted to, just kind of see. Here would be a good one. Here would be a good one. So I just try to look for the major pivots here to here. So the next, kind of zone, kind of looking into the future, is kind of somewhere along this line here. So I could draw another one. I just don't want to get it too cluttered. But let's say, so I go here to here. And then let's see, this one, that looks pretty interesting. So it's halfway point right there. You had a pivot here. So we could try that one out. Duplicate drawing. Move over here, and let's see where we're at. So that kind of looks like we're getting a little bit closer to some action. So it's, if we do go to the upside, that 29.18 level could get kind of interesting. We might see some sort of pullback there. Or if we pull back over the next couple days, fill the gap, that might be an area. That 28.43 might be a good area for a long. So just something to keep an eye on too. So that's kind of looking at time, one way to look at time. Another thing we looked at too is we looked at the cycle brackets, right, going to pivot to pivot. So let's say where are the major pivots? So here's a down pivot and down pivot there. So you just go from pivot to pivot, and so you kind of look here. Okay, there was a pivot, right? Kind of a pivot. Where is some major stuff? There was a major pivot, right? Oh, right there, the biggest pivot of the century, right? So, this was really the biggest quarterly move, dollar-wise or point-wise that the market's really ever seen. So so you can see why these kind of using these tools and looking at time, you can kind of start to see things, or not necessarily predict things, but you can kind of anticipate that, hey, maybe this is an area where something is going to happen. So kind of interesting too. Anytime you see confluence, right, you have the Fibonacci line here, you got the reaction line here. It's kind of lining up right here too with a one of these cycle brackets. So just basically more lines that you can add to your chart, but it just gets you thinking, right? Instead of just staring at it and looking at it and being like, hey, what's going on here? These give you real good points of reference, and the market knows geometry, right? So so kind of what I'll talk about today is let me see if I can find in fact, let me just make this a clean chart right here, and we could use SPX too. So let me just create a drawing set. We'll call this one clear. And then I'll just remove all that stuff. I'm going to keep my alerts up. But the next tool is here. We've pretty much talked about everything that's in here. We definitely have talked about time levels. These are really great because you can, if you have something like, hey, this is going to happen on this date, it's going to happen on this date, you can just kind of use that as a time level. So that's something interesting. The Fibonacci time ratio is a couple different ways to use it. I've got the Investopedia article in the YouTube description box, so you can always reference that too. So one of the things I talk about is, so you just click on this one, it's the clock with the percent, right? So time ratio kind of makes sense, right? So you click on that, and one of the things I say is find a major pivot and click on it, and it automatically, so sometimes it automatically fills in. Okay, so yes, you can kind of do wherever you want to. Anyway, some of them just do it automatically, right? They just pick an area and then just go out, from that area, 23.6 from, kind of a default zone. So Thinkorswim doesn't do it that way. So what I like to do is I like to find two major pivots and draw the ratios from there to there. So I haven't done it yet on SPX. I was experimenting with a few other stocks earlier, but let's take this low pivot and this low pivot right here. So you kind of have that kind of W bottom type situation. So you have from that area, and then what I'll do is I'll draw the 23.6% extension so it lines up with that. Okay, and so you can see here. Right, so we had obviously there, but this next pivot, this next area, the 38.2%, actually turned out to be a nice pivot low, all the way up. And then kind of here, not very big, but let's zoom in and just kind of look at it. Right, so you can kind of see here, pivot zone, kind of pivot zone. Not too much happened here. Is pretty insignificant. Here's just a move. So these don't guarantee that there's going to be action. Here was actually a pretty decent pivot low here. So you went from 28.62. Almost 100 points to the upside. I mean, so it doesn't look huge, but it's still pretty decent. And then here, just kind of follow through. So, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, sometimes you can find one that really matches up well. The more you can find that match up, the better chance of it working out again in the future. So, actually, so let me do this. Let me do another one for you. Why can't I do that? Because apparently I drew two of them. Let's see. Remove. Okay. So this one, so let's go from this high to this high. There too, so that gives a little more space. So you can see a pivot here. I'm kind of more interested in seeing what lines up. Oh, this is a pretty good one down here. They gave me a nice push up. So 26.49 all the way to 27.94. So now how you trade these, here's another one here. How do you trade these is up to you. To me, I would just kind of use it, be like, okay, pay attention, right? So, if I'm coming up in this zone, say for instance, we've already made a move down. I'm not just going to buy because it hits the Fibonacci time ratio, but I'm going to start looking for clues, right? So in this case, what I would have done is seen, right? I would have seen an inverted hammer here, which, looks like it's going to be this is a reversal candle, right? So when you see this as a shooting star pattern, it's a reversal at the top of a trend. But when you see an inverted hammer at the bottom of a trend, right, or at the bottom of a move, then you kind of look to the upside. So here the Fibonacci time ratio kind of signals, hey, let me pay attention to see if I can find an up move, and then boom, you look for your say your candlestick setup or your bar chart setup to show that, hey, I could attempt this. So there's your move, kind of paying attention here. Then you say you enter here. Somewhere even between this range, it's 26.62 on the tail fail there. So you have 26.62, all the way up to 27.90, so over 100 points. I mean, so these are significant moves, right? So these are kind of things you want to keep out for. Now, this is on the daily chart. You can also do this on the shorter term time frames. So that's why the title of this is day trading with the Fibonacci time ratio. So obviously you could do that for swings. So if we kind of zoom in here. Let me go, before I do that, let me just put that back. Go. Is that pretty good? I'm missing one thing. Default? No. I'll go back to it later. Sorry, guys. There we go. There's my crazy one. Okay, so all right. So let's go back to where am I? The 5-minute chart. Okay, so 5-minute chart. We've already looked at the Fibonacci spirals. We can see how that is really good. So let me find a clearer lower time frame chart. Here we go. 5-minute. Let me remove the stochastic on there. Studies. Remove studies. Of that, and then drawing, we'll just do clear. Okay, there we go. So those lines there, those just represent the inside day, right? Inside days, anytime you see an inside bar, right, you can kind of just see like they usually form, some sort of triangle formation. So just kind of pay attention to that. So look for a break, one way or another there. Let me add the extended hours just because it gives a couple of price indications. All right, so what we do is we go to the time ratios and we look for pivots on the shorter term time frames. So you can see we've had a couple of gaps up here, but just kind of looking. I mean, let's just see. So you have a pivot high here, and then kind of a pivot high here. So let's kind of just go here, and we'll draw to there. Just kind of see what we see. Of course these are big pivot moves that are at the open. So that doesn't really help us here. Let me see. So remove, and let's find another one. Let's try shorter term time frame. Let's go low to low, here to here. Okay, so you can start to see some points of interest. How about that pivot to that pivot, here to here? So you can see, hey, look here for potential. Look here for potential. That was a nice pivot up. Look there, nothing really happened, right? So sort of a squeeze there. And then here we're moving up, pause. There's a pause area and back up. So you can use these intraday. Like I said, just you have to play around with it a little bit to find, where you start finding your sweet spots, and also whether you use the pre-market data or not, it is totally up to you. Just have it consistent with your trading. Let me do one more. Let's go to a different stock. Let's just look at Amazon. Or Google. Google's been moving recently, so I kind of want to see that. And here, I'm actually just going to take out the any of the pre-market data, so we remove that there, so you can kind of see a little bit clearer on the charts. And so let's see, let's find a couple pivots that look interesting. So here's a high to high right here, so we'll try that. I'm sure the more significant, right? So that doesn't really line up. A little bit difficult there. So high to, we could try the daily move here. So if we go the daily pivot here, so we had a pivot here, and then this was at the open, but still you had a nice ratio here, right? That ended up kind of really being great for all the way up to these levels. And then finally it came back down here to this line, up, back down this line, so 12.14 all the way to 12.20. So you can see how this could benefit intraday as well. And this is just on the 5-minute time frame. So hopefully you guys find that helpful. I think it's great for swings. I think it's great for intraday. I think combining it with other tools and other setups can be pretty powerful. So definitely something to add to your tool belt. So at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, feel free to plug those into the chat window, and we will get through those as many as we can, hopefully before 10 o'clock, so we can all get a good night rest. Let me just grab a sip of water here. Prayer Kid, what's going on? Pardon me. Nudie Poo, what's happening? OPTT, sure, yeah, my pleasure. Let me take a look here. This is our level. Good. All right, there. Okay, good. So OPTT. Yeah, awesome move today. Look at that, incredible. Why is it doing that? Yeah. Incredible bar today. So it looks like it does this every now and again, right? So this is one you just kind of look for spikes on, pullbacks of every so often. So actually, this would be pretty interesting to see what that looks like on a Fibonacci time scale. Let's take a look at the ratio there. Let's just go from this pivot to that pivot and see. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So you had a spike here, a spike here, a spike here, a spike here, and look at that. Look how close that was to a spike. So, when you do these, don't be afraid to, I'm not saying, I would say keep an eye on it, right? Because it looks like a little bit of a risky stock. But anytime you get close to one of these Fibonacci levels, you might see like a spike, which would be pretty interesting. So what I do like here is you are over a volumetric level, and so see if it holds there. You got huge volume here today, so that does look pretty interesting. So definitely keep an eye there. Cool catch on that one, Nudie Poo. Robbie, what's up? DAL. Awesome. Nice breakout move to, hold on. I hate when it tricks me like that. So let's see. So decent move here. We were tracking from high to low. We were looking at some Fibonacci levels. Look at this. Came all the way up to 78.6. So just be careful there of a pullback at this level, right? So if not, look for some consolidations. Maybe it'll come down to the 61.8 and then kind of work its way back up. It does have earnings coming up pretty soon. So just keep that in mind too. XLF. I think K-Pac was tweeting this out, I believe. Was looking pretty interesting. So here we've kind of been tracking it. Looks like we had a couple action-reaction lines. So, kind of came to this level that actually served as a pretty good reaction line, right? Action up here, reaction. Actually kind of a weird area to do that. But it is a major pivot. So here it kind of broke down through there, kind of came up and actually used that reaction line as a resistance, came back down and used the pitchfork. So now at this point, no idea, except that it's a consolidated on. I would look for another action move, somewhere. So if I extend this to the right, okay. So that's serving as resistance right now. For me, I would like to see like a pullback and then another bounce to the upside. So just watching the different financials though, it is pretty interesting. JP Morgan is looking pretty interesting. We had a inside 60 anchor on that one for tomorrow, and I do like trading JP Morgan at the open. RF. Regions Financial, I know we've been stocking this one too. So very nice. We had this downward trend line. We broke to the upside. We talked about reclaiming it, and it certainly did that. So now it's back within the Fibonacci fan line. So again, a little consolidation and then a potential push to the upside. What is that? Is that a drawing? Weird. Okay, yeah, and then a potential push to the upside. So so looking pretty bullish on regions. Good stuff. Thanks, Robbie. NetFry, what's going on, bud? STNE. STNE. Okay, cool. Looks interesting. It did give you a gap fill today, so just look to see if it holds that and then gets back over the volumetric level, 38. Look for a 38 break. You do have some volume here, so big congestion zone, gap down, gap up, gap down, right? So just look here if it holds that level. If not, then it's probably it's got a big volume error pocket right there. It could get down to that 30.88 kind of area. Jesse, what's going on, man? Thank you for all your kind words. Appreciate it. An all-time high. Yeah, I would say so. Unstoppable, right? I mean, when you have a kicker week, right? I mean, it doesn't get much more bullish than that, So yeah. Julian, what's going on? Yeah, the chart does get complicated with so many studies. It's true. So that's why I just kind of eliminate that. That's why I have like, I don't know, some charts I have like 30 different drawing sets, and so each one's a little bit different that I like to I use different preferences for different time frames, just to kind of see what's going on. But it is always nice to just kind of keep it clear, maybe have a trend line or two and then draw some levels in there, which is great. For SPX, and day trading, putting those pivot levels in there is really key. So I hope everybody who's a subscriber is finding those helpful, getting those daily. Mike, what's going on? Prayer Kid, use time ratio plus time extension. When you have both lines overlapping each other, that's the strongest chance of a change or continuation of a trend. Nice, Prayer Kid. I really appreciate that. Guys, Prayer Kid he's really good at using like these time ratios and everything. So let's just just kind of take a look at that here with STNE. Let me go. Let's just kind of take a look here just as an example. So you have time ratios. So let's just go from this high. That pivot to this pivot. So we go here to say here. Okay, so it kind of gives you a couple different levels. And then time extension, when you combine those, here, time extension. Okay, so let's say we start at the same level and we go to like say this pivot and then extend back from here. So we would look for confluence, which is, there was a couple. So this wasn't horrible. So these are kind of close, so it kind of gave you a little bit of pivot down, and then it launched to the upside. So that's really great. Definitely good stuff for our kids. So we'll definitely keep that in mind too. And that's the key too with everything is finding confluence, especially with Fibonacci's and other indicators as well. Can usually give you just that extra oomph. So Mike, what's up? Amateur Fibber. That's funny. Let's see. Need to set up a new computer desk still at old house. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's get in there. I need to upgrade my workstation. That's one of the goals this year too. So, Pritesh, what's going on? Hey everyone, can you check Snap and Nvidia? Absolutely. So Snap. Yeah, Julian, again, every trader is different. Some people love tons of indicators. It makes them, feel good. Some people just like having price and volume, so it's just whatever you're most comfortable with, add the one or two that you think give you the edge, for you. So, so Snap. All right, so here's Snap. Let's see, what did I have here? It had some goofy megaphone formation I was working on, but let me remove that. Okay, remove. Okay, so let's draw a fib fan line, high to low. Okay, kind of see what it's holding. Looks like it's holding this fib fan line pretty well. A potential push to the upside there to that 1334 is possible. Snap's a tough one to trade, right? Because intraday it just can get like, you're dealing with pennies, by pennies and they're slow. But if you have a swing account and can take your eyes off of it, right? Look for a potential cup and handle forming here. It might get up here to that volume level, kind of hold for a little bit, and then eventually kind of break to the upside. So that is possible. I think it's getting some positive news recently. I don't know. Nvidia. Yeah, so Nvidia, this was we've already talked about it in Twitter, but this is a subscriber trade of the week, right? So we were tracking this triangle right here, break to the upside for a gap fill. Really ended up working out really well. At this point now, I'm starting to be like, okay, let's see what it does, right? Gave us an inside day, so that's definitely something to use. Let me actually put I meant to put an alert on that. Give me 1 second. Why create alert? There we go. Sorry. Inside day up. And one more alert. Inside a down. Okay. So we have that this dotted, this dashed yellow line, orange line is represents the gap. So that was the target for subscribers, right? So we hit that gap fill there. So that was a real nice trade, and it kind of came back in today with an inside day. So at this point, we want to see, all right, if it breaks this inside day to the upside, we do have a chance to go higher and work our way up to this median line of the pitchfork, right? If not, then I kind of have this Elliott wave pattern that we're still working on. So I've got a wave one down. 1, 2, 3. This is some sort of 4 pattern, like A, B, C to 4. So you kind of work up this way, and then at this point, if it comes down, we might see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, working our way down for a wave 5 down. So we'll see how the price action starts to look. We do have bearish divergence here on the RSI, so to me, it's starting to look a little bearish. But we'll see how it handles that inside day tomorrow. But great one on that one. Don't think you can do on iPhone. Yeah, doing those on iPhones is kind of blah. Shirley, what's going on? Jesse, all-time highs on SPX incoming. Nice. Incoming. And check out M and TJX. Okay, yeah, absolutely. So looking at some retail stuff. Oh, wow. Yeah, nice move. Nice move there. Nice bar today. I mean, $1.35 on Macy's is pretty strong, right? I mean, was a cheap, and look where it broke out too, right? So a little mini cup handle, a little cup, and maybe something of a not really. It was a 2B reversal, but nice push here today. Broke just really squeeze shorts out off of that volumetric level. It's kind of coming back now into this pitchfork, and looks like maybe a pause day, and then potential upside there over 26, and then TJX. Great catch on that one. TJX very similar, so nice stuff on retail today. So that's good to see. Hopefully they'll put some sales on some stuff soon. So I'm just kidding, but so this has just been TJX has been kind of interesting. So let's just kind of watch to see what this does. It's kind of work. It's got a little bit of a trend line up here, so just kind of see how it holds that. But it might just kind of melt its way up, and nothing wrong with that. So okay, surely let's see. So we got Guild. Excuse me. Guild. Okay, interesting. So it looks like I looked at this not too long ago. So had a basically a descending triangle here. Broke to the downside. Back up. These kind of biotech type stocks are a little bit can be complex. So let's see. So here to here. Okay, good. Held those. Nice breakout. So I do like that. Again, like I always say, always look for a little bit of a pullback and then another push up, and then your levels are good there. Asher. Yeah, it's doing pretty good. I know you were looking at this the other day, so it keeps on doing its little gaps and all that stuff, kind of working its way up. So so really good there. It needs to break out here. That's your level. 30.67. So just figure 30 and 3/4, something like that. It could be pretty interesting. So AMD. AMD. Wow. Nice nice inside day today. So you gotta like that. That's always worthy of an alert, especially when it's a narrow range like that. Let's see there, and one more to the downside. We were stocking this one the other day. This gave us a 60 anchor level. If we kind of go to the I think I had tweeted this whole thing out. I think we had an inside week right here. So this dashed line here represented the inside week up, right? And then it obviously it gapped, and on the big upgrade that it had. So inside day here. Just be careful. This is actually kind of a short setup right here. So if the market's really weak tomorrow, this would be a great one to take to the short side off, especially off the inside day down. Of course, it has an upgrade, but institutions, these companies are shysters, right? So they upgrade it so they can get out of the stock at a higher level. So at this point, it might get pushed down. You're at the upper Bollinger Band and you're at overbought conditions on the RSI, so that is a sell signal. Look what happened here last time it did that. Closed over the RSI here, or I'm sorry, over the Bollinger Band here. RSI was overbought, and then boom. So I mean, it wasn't a fun ride, but it was definitely a ride. 27.38 all the way down to 24. So 3-point move there. You got a gap fill potential, so just be careful of that. So, but nice one to look at on there, surely. So, the tough one to swing. That's all I'm going to say about AMD. It's a wild thing. So. Mike, Apple products are not good for trading. That's funny. Marvel, MRVL. Wow. Yeah, it definitely looks like it has some upside potential on this one too, surely. So, big bar today. You are at the upper Bollinger Band, but you're not overbought on the RSI. So let's take a look down here. Yeah, so nice breakout too. At the volumetric level. So again, look for a pause, potential move to the upside. Remove that. Looks good. FCX. Okay. Good. Yeah, I mean, just kind of working on a couple of these levels. Yeah, it got through the Fibonacci level, did kind of pull back. I mean, it was really, really nice. This was the key area here when it tested that volumetric, and all the way back up. So yeah, I mean, I think it looks pretty good. NEM. Newmont. That's right, Newmont. Very good. Yeah, gosh, it was really consolidating down here for quite some time. Starting to get some breakout moves, so I do like that. Notice the increasing volume all the way up through here. So it looks like there's some accumulation going on. So potential, look for potential pullback and then a push to the upside. So I definitely like your levels. It doesn't have a volumetric level up top until 63. So that's pretty wild right there. So it could potentially double in time. So. Mike, message retracted. Let's see, Shirley, XOM. Without even looking at it, I was looking at this earlier, bullish, really gave a pretty surprising move on the lower term time frame. I was looking for a potential short here, but it's really picking up. So I like how it closed over the volumetric level too. So just see if it can follow up your fib fans to the upside. MS can be a fun one to trade, a little bit crazy, but I do like the. We looked at this not too long ago with the pitchfork. It was a very short-term time frame. But let's see, we definitely have a channel going on there, right? Would you agree? So kind of working its way down the channel. Now it's outside of the channel. I love these setups right here. Break out of the channel, pull back, and then up. So I mean, just a great move right there. So yeah, so definitely some upside potential on that. J&K. Wow, pretty crazy dip right there and then back up. So likes this level, likes this 35 level. If I agree, if it can break out there, surely then it could go. But to me, looks like this is going to chop around for a while. Joseph, what's going on? Yeah, let's take a look. MCD. So MCD was on the game plan list yesterday as a potential long trade idea. It ended up working pretty well, compared to some of the others. Some of the other DAOs were looking a little rough today. I'm liking this. The only thing you got to be careful about, and I am still bullish on it. I think it could work, but we had like 1 A, B, C, 2. 1, 2. It could give you a nice push. If it does break out of that level at 190.88, then it's going to push, right? But just be careful, right? Because there's a lot of people that like to short there too. So a lot of professionals, a lot of algos like to short those ATHs. So just be really, really careful there if you're trying to trade for a breakout, right? If anything, if it breaks out a little bit, look for a pullback to that level and then go long. So, or if you're just swinging it and have some like a call spread on it, more power to you on that one. It could work. So still a little bit bullish on it. Robbie, hey, no problem. Protest NVIDIA 60. Yes, Robbie, 60 anchor on NVIDIA. So we'll be definitely tracking that. How do you decide that yellow line gap in your NVIDIA chart? Oh, I was just using the most recent NetFry. I was just using the most recent one. So if we just kind of I'll show you on the candlestick chart. So here's your weekly. Here's your daily. So you just go here. And of course, this is really messy, so let me see if I can take out some stuff. That's still messy. Oh, that's because I have all the stuff in there. Let me see if I can find you a nice daily chart with candlesticks. Maybe that was one. Nope. I think this is a weekly. Give me 1 second. Sorry, Nefry. Weekly, and I think this is going to be the daily. There we go. So we go here. Let's create clear. Okay, so here we go. So here's your gap. Right, here's your gap window. Right. So I was basing that line off of, I mean, you can really base it anywhere. So this gap is already filled. There was a little bit of a gap here, so that was filled. You have this gap here, the 188. So that was the line I was using, right? And you know, at that point, you know, I mean, you can kind of look here, this 195, you know, stuff like that. So I just kind of look for the main window, you know, areas. So this would have been the first target. This was the second target that we had, you know, from the newsletter. And then, you know, then you can kind of, you know, start to kind of take out these levels here too. So, so that's good there. And then there's another gap up here as well. So pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, so this is the first gap. This is the first gap, right? There's a little one here, second, right? So a couple things that never got filled before. So, and then that was filled. Yep. Then you did that gap up there, and that never got. Yeah. So that was so once a gap down from here is your next level. So it could potentially still work itself to the upside, definitely. Pre-test, all good. Jay, what's going on, man? Good to see you. G10, BH, can you take a look at CMI, spot, and ADI? Yep. So CMI. Let's go back to our zone. CMI. All right, yeah, so it's good to make up its mind here. Okay, there we go. So looking good. I mean, you know, we had this nice move to the upside here. Let me just say, so from here down, I believe that's the lower of the low. Yep, so there. So it's been breaking out this Fibonacci fan area. It's got a gap here. So just see how it holds there, and then look for a push. So, you know, if it pulls back, you know, I would say look to buy a pullback on that. Looks pretty interesting, in my humble opinion. Spot. Spot got some news. Didn't it just come up? Like, oh, it wasn't like Citron. Didn't they talk about it today? The Spot, right? Oh, look at that. Nice confluence right there. Fibonacci and volumetric. Nice pullback. Look for a push to the upside. Squeeze some shorts, right? And then ADI. Analog Devices still there, right? Still hanging out the median of the pitchfork. So just look for a break to that of that previous bar, and then another push to the upside on the you know, see how it works on that pitchfork to the upside. Good. Jesse, massive call sweeps coming in from Asher. Yeah, for sure you did earlier. I know few holding calls for breakouts. They seem to be correct when they scan. Nice, that's awesome. FedEx, yeah, absolutely. So FedEx, gosh, I'm just so bearish on FedEx, right? They gave it a downgrade recently. It held up pretty well, but overall I've been just kind of tracking this thing to the downside, doing a little Elliott wave and everything. So I had 1, 2, sub 3, 4, and I'm looking for the finish of the subwave 4/5 here. So just see how it holds. I mean, obviously, trade levels and trade candles, the short-term time frames, but I am sort of looking for this pullback to this area and then a bounce. So I've just been stalking this one for a while, so it looks pretty. It looks like it's coming up. I've got a couple, kind of pivot zones, so it looks like it could get to that level potentially. So we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, but could go the other way. It is holding up pretty well too. So there's that to say. It's holding over these volumetric levels and looks has potential bullish tendencies as well. So Pritesh, Baba, yeah, let's take a look. So Baba actually, Mike. Got a little bit bullish today, right? So if this is a bull flag on that and it breaks through here, I just found it interesting. I wasn't going to tweet it out, but you have a reaction line right here where it's at. You've got a bull flag going on, and you're at the pitchfork median line. So at this point, it could launch. And then Baidu too, guys. Been stalking Baidu for a while for a potential long since it put in this weekly bar here. We talked about it a couple times. So anytime, right, on the weekly, it closes below its weekly Bollinger Band, which it did here, right, and RSI was oversold. This, long term, that's a long-term buy signal. Now, anybody who's been waiting for it has been chopping around. We had this kind of triangle. Look what it did. It broke out today. So big breakout today on Baidu. So, this week, big break, and what was mostly today's action. So potential break to the upside there. Could get us up into the cloud. And this would be like a swing trade, maybe with a vertical call spread or something like that. You do have the 200-day moving average at 196, so that's a potential first target. After that, 50-day moving average at 207, and then it could get back up to the cloud over 200. So, these are significant moves, right? So anytime you see that, right? So just watch it. So here, if you got long there, you had to deal with all this chop, and now today I think you finally got your breakout. So Baidu's looking pretty interesting. TuneFed, what's going on, man? Good to check out GLUU. Yeah, let's see, GLUU. Look at that monster, incredible. Let's see, I have a pitchfork on this one, so I don't know if you had talked about this one in the past, but we had a pretty big long-range pitchfork on this one. Kind of upheld. I mean, it's really, really choppy. Kind of had a little bit of a break today up to this 11 level. It just, to me, I feel like it would still come back maybe over the next couple weeks, sort of like to test that $10 level, and then it'll probably find some support there, and then launch again. Might coincide with their earnings at 4:30, so April 30th. So I have to check that one out. So it looks pretty interesting. No problem, Nefra, man, my pleasure. Pritesh, gap in the stock is tracked from the close of the day. No. I use the shadows, right? You don't just use the close, use the shadows, right? So if it just ticks over on that shadow, and just kind of closes that window there, right, on that. So that's what I look at, right? And that just gives you full smooth price continuity, right, in time. So NVIDIA, exactly. There's another gap at 195.5. Exactly. That area. Bobby, you got tricked both ways. Well, yeah. Well done, Bubba. Yeah, I know. You'll get it. So check out that buy. Was it Baba? Yeah, I mean Baba's looking pretty strong right there. So, but I know you'll get it. So no big deal. Oh, guys, 10:15, and tomorrow is Friday. So TGIF tomorrow. When you're trading options tomorrow, consider trading next week's options because you don't want to get caught and get assigned. If you're, forget that you're swinging it, at the end of the day, or if it just kind of messes with you for whatever reason and expires on you tomorrow, and goes to zero. You don't want that. So always try to get out of your options, on expiration day. And other than that, hope everybody. Jay, what's up? Do I think SPY will hit 290? I think it's certainly possible. I mean, it's only 3 points away. We'll see. We'll see what it does. I mean, it could push. I don't know if it's going to do it tomorrow, but I think tomorrow is going to be pretty revealing. So I mean, futures are pretty strong right now. So if we push up and we gap up, we just rock into all-time highs. I mean, it is very possible. But we have that weekly gap open. So if some news comes out or something like that, it could the market could get scared and kind of go down there. Which reminds me, before we go, let's just kind of see what the VIX is up to. Right. Moving down. Careful here. It's got kind of some support zone. So if it wants to, this is not a bad area for it to kind of spike, right? So just be careful. Watch that. If it goes up, market gets scared. Might see some action there too. So good stuff. Shirley, thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure. Everybody, I hope you guys have a great night. I'll tweet out some game plan stuff, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night, and talk to you soon. And thanks again for all new subscribers, too. If you're not a subscriber, check us out at positive-trends.com/newsletter.html. Talk to you later.